It's very difficult with getting referrals from a friend of a friend and a friend. And that's how these working relationships start. And we find ourselves in positions that these are not clients that are going to move the needle for us. And recognizing that is part of what the Pumpkin Plan has done for me.
You're listening to the Profit by Design podcast, episode 64. You work hard in your business. On the Profit by Design podcast, we ask the big question. What has your business done for you lately? Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling, the business psychologist, the author of How to Hire the Best, and your co-host on the Profit by Design podcast. Weekly, my co-host, Mike Bruno, and I bring you tips, tools, and strategies from our own experiences and from the experiences of our guests, who are entrepreneurial thought leaders and real-life entrepreneurs, all to support you in making intentionally profitable and sustainable business decisions to live the lifestyle you desire. In this episode, Mike and I talk with Steve Dale. Steve has a story I anticipate you will relate to. Steve and I are both Pumpkin Plan Your Biz strategists. He is a big ambassador for the How to Hire the Best Contractors Edition, being passionate about getting this solution into as many contractors' hands as possible. And by the way, if you haven't gotten your copy yet, How to Hire the Best is available at tapthepotential.com/book. Steve is the owner-operator of Angle Contracting, LLC in Idaho. After college, he worked as a truck dispatcher and then tried a cubicle with no windows for a short time. He quickly realized working for others was not his cup of tea. After marrying and purchasing a home, he dove into home projects. He merged his love of construction projects with his business skills to build Angle Contracting. Although he had mentors, Steve readily admits none taught him how to run a profitable business. Sound familiar yet? Steve says, I worked many, many hours when I began my business because I was told by everyone, the harder and more hours you work, the better off you will be. So the harder I worked, I felt I had to satisfy my customers' needs, and in turn, I sometimes neglected to take care of my family or myself. There were lots of difficult conversations, particularly when we had family vacations, mainly me staying back or leaving late, working for my clients instead of spending time with my loved ones. I never had an issue with work coming in, but I did have trouble keeping up with the work demands. This led to lots of juggling and balls dropped. I am not a juggler, not even close. Every year I told myself I was going to operate differently, but every year things always stayed about the same for business operations. I always took whatever job came my way and never interviewed the client to make sure we would work well together. If someone called me, I just thought I had to say yes to come and look at their project. I've spent many hours following leads that didn't materialize, and this would have been wasted time if I had not finally learned some important lessons from this familiar scenario. Steve discovered Profit First, Pumpkin Plan, and Clockwork. He feels blessed to have come into contact with Donna Lyons and the Pumpkin Plan Your Biz strategist, and he is now a strategist himself. Steve says, I want to use all of the strengths I developed working as a contractor for 12 years, along with the many lessons I've learned about running a profitable business, and support other trades and business people like myself reaching for better profits and a more peaceful life. Heck, I'm still learning something new each day. We'll be joining the interview with Steve shortly. First, I've got something for you, particularly if you relate to Steve's story about missing family time and vacations. Have you been wondering, could you really take a 4-week vacation? I mean, you hear us talking about it a lot on the podcast, and we've brought on guests who've made it happen, but maybe you're wondering, is it for you? Is it something that you could really set your business up to do, where you could have that freedom to be in your business doing what you love to do or not be there? Maybe it's taking a 4-week vacation on the beach, or maybe it's just having the freedom to explore other things that are important to you. If you've been wondering, can I take a 4-week vacation? I've got something for you. On Monday, December 2nd, Mike McAllowitz is joining me in the 4weekvacationers.com Facebook group for a Facebook Live event. We are going to be talking to you all about designing your business to be able to run without you being there. And we really intend to answer your question. Can you take a 4-week vacation? Now, if you've been following the Profit by Design podcast for a while, you know Mike. He's been on previous episodes. He's the author of great books like Profit First and The Pumpkin Plan, which we talk about often here on the Profit by Design podcast. He's also the author of Clockwork. And Mike brings specific expertise around systemizing businesses, making them profitable, and really knowing where to focus to get results. He and I host the annual Breakthroughs on the Bayou retreat at my home, the Entrepreneurs Retreat Center, and we have our next Breakthroughs on the Bayou coming up in March 2020. In this Facebook Live event, we're going to give you a peek into what we've got cooking for March 2020 at Breakthroughs on the Bayou. That one is the 4-week vacation legacy retreat. And you might be aware that our participants who come through Breakthroughs on the Bayou, many of them pledge to take their 4-week vacations. And for every single one of us who've made that pledge and made it happen, it always felt like a big leap starting out and looking at, can my business take a 4-week vacation? I've learned a lot over the years taking my business through a 4-week vacation, and actually multiple 4-week vacations, and taking our clients through getting their businesses ready for a 4-week vacation. Mike and I are eager to share with you what we've learned. So mark your calendar and plan to join us for our Facebook Live from the 4weekvacationers.com Facebook group. So you need to be in that Facebook group to be able to access the Facebook Live that we're doing. That's 4weekvacationers.com. The Facebook Live event will be on Monday, December 2nd, 5 o'clock Central, 6 Eastern, 4 Mountain, and 3 Pacific. I hope to see you there. Steve, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me so much. It's an honor to be on the podcast, Dr. Sabrina and Mike.
Yeah, we're excited to have you here. I've gotten to know you over the last few months through Pumpkin Plan Your Biz. You're one of our fellow Pumpkin Plan strategists, and you're also a contractor, and you've been making the transition in your own business. You have a passion for helping contractors, and a lot of it comes out of your own experience. So I think that might be a really good place for us to start. Like, how did you even discover the Pumpkin Plan, and what made you excited about using that to help contractors?
What made me excited was listening to Mike McAlevitz on Audible.
Yeah, that's a great Audible book, isn't it?
Yes. You know, it was the fact that I was kind of spinning my wheels in my business. I knew there had to be a better way. So I was eager to dive in. And I've always been somebody who is never content to where, I'm always wanting to learn something new. And so, business books and I came across the Profit First podcast and just really had a interest for following Mike. And I just started diving in and listening to the Pumpkin Plan and Profit First. And it was like, kind of had my attention. And I honestly, I don't know that turning point, because I did love, and I still do love, to do contracting work. Like to work with my hands. I like to see that finished product more so. The jobs that customers, they want nice materials. They appreciate the work that you're doing. Those are the jobs that really resonate with me. And I listened to the Pumpkin Plan first. I probably listened to it about 4 or 5 times. The next thing you know, I was on a webinar with Mike and Donna Lyons, and then I was on a phone call with Donna, and then I was part of the Pumpkin Plan on my way to becoming a strategist. And when I started seeing that special sauce, or I started seeing the process of using the Pumpkin Plan on identifying your customers that are going to grow your business, I started implementing that in my business. And I just started seeing less time working for my clients and more time spent at home and my family, and more time for personal time. And then I just wanted to share it. I was getting paid for things that I wasn't getting paid for before. when you're starting getting paid for proposals and consulting, and when your clients believe in you, and then you become giddy almost when you start getting paid for things you never had before or had done before. And I remember coming home, I had a job that was about 40 miles away from my house, from my hometown, and I sold a bathroom job. And I went up there to collect a consulting fee, and I walked out of their house with half down and a signed contract. And I mean, it was it was actually just for a tiled tub surround, but it was still, I had roughly, about $2,500 in my pocket that was going to my bank account just for doing something different and doing it the right way to allow my business to succeed. So on my drive home from there, I had to tell somebody. I just couldn't keep it a secret because I knew that I had other contracting friends that don't believe this. I mean, I don't know if they don't believe this, but it hasn't been brought to their attention. And I remember talking with a friend of mine. I consider him a really good friend. And I had to pull over on the highway so I could talk to him because I did not want to lose him. And I had his full attention. And so then he asked me if he could share it with his employer because he was working for an electrician at this time. And I said, yes, you can, but only if you think he's actually going to believe it. And I know we have to be out there for the non-believers too, but I said, yeah, please share this message. But I mean, I can see you believe in it. And if you think that your employer, which I know as well, will believe in it, yes, please share, because I mean, there's just a better way to live in this contracting world. And it's not to work our lives away. It's not, I mean, with that comes poor work decisions, poor health decisions, which in, your nutrition, your physical health and exercise. And I don't know, that's where it's kind of had me led down the path. And it is about making more of a difference, which in turn has many rewards.
So, yeah, I mean, one of the things that we probably have a lot of, similar feelings on it and have had frustrations in our own businesses. But I know one of the things that I always felt was a sense of isolation. And then once I started having these, greater aha moments of, wow, I really should be doing this differently and I can be successful at it, that feeling of isolation kind of went away. And I felt like I was really onto something that I wanted to share, and I really wanted to push. So not only was I doing it for myself, but then I wanted to also continue to learn through teaching the same thing.
I totally agree. Every time that I am working for a client now, doing a contracting job, remodeling, I just feel like this is time that I could be focusing my energy on the strategy side, becoming, on the pumpkin plan strategist, working on my business to help others. And so, yeah, it's been a difficult thing for me to be able to balance both of them because I don't want to, I've worked so hard to get my business to where it's at, but then I have this new passion. So that's kind of what I'm kind of juggling with right now.
I'm really appreciating your passion for sharing these tools and strategies with others, because I've seen you not just with Pumpkin Plan, but with Profit First, with my book, How to Hire the Best. Like, you are on fire and you want to tell everybody there is a different way. And the part that I really appreciate, though, is you're very careful about who the everybody is. It's the everybody who's curious and who wants to see if there really is a different way. And you're recognizing there's some business owners who just aren't even open to that. And you don't want to put your energy, like I hear the Pumpkin Plan in that. Like, I'm not going to put my energy towards convincing someone there's another way. Just those who curious, who want to know more. That's where the energy is going to go.
Yeah. And it is difficult because like I said, there is somebody who's somewhat close to me, and that's the hard one. Maybe the light will shine here in the near future and he'll be willing to receive some, super valuable information, and maybe he won't. And maybe I can slide a book on his truck seat and but yeah, I don't know. But yes, it is hard because you want to make sure that it's the right people. And because,
as a fellow coach, I want to speak my own experience about that. I have spent a lot of time in the past trying to convert people to be curious about what we do at Tap the Potential and that we can help them have a better life. And they're just not in the place to hear it. But what I have found that is extraordinarily powerful is having episodes like we have here on the Profit by Design podcast that people listen to when we have our 4-week vacationers out there who are wearing their I Made the Pledge t-shirt and they're talking about their 4-week vacation. We're showing the way and living the way by example. And I find that really just opens minds to, I hadn't thought about that. Maybe I could do something different. And, when it comes to like the how to hire the best strategies, one of the things I'm committed to with this book launch is this is not going to be a secret anymore. This needs to be out there for anybody who wants to hear about it. And what you're speaking to, Steve, is it pains you to see your friends struggling. And it also has impacted your relationships with your friends because the work has taken over life.
Yes. Yes, that is kind of why I feel that I have a new message, a new goal in life. And it's just to kind of share the good word of that there's a new beginning. It's a new beginning that can happen if you just allow it to come in, allow it to be present.
It's so true. The one thing that I learned in my experience, I think what Sabrina said is a very good point. Like, stop trying to convert certain people. There are certain people that are just never going to get it. And when it hits close to home, like it's a good, a friend or a family member even, where that you can help them and you really want to help them and you're coming from a place of friendship and love for this person and you want to give them everything they need to take it to the next level of success. You also have to be willing to accept the fact that you may not get thanked for it. There may be no reciprocal energy coming back your way. And then at a certain point, you just have to put it out there that you are there to help them, but you can't do it for them. If they don't see it, it's never going to change. If you don't, and in my case, like I kept doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result from this person. And that result never came back to me, but it kept, I internalized the frustration and it made me a crappier person. Then I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I will help you if you want it, but you have to want it also. And that person never wanted it. And I just went my other way, in another direction.
Yeah.
I am hearing you loud and clear.
Well, and I imagine we have profit designers who are listening and this is resonating for them too, because many of you are working on implementing these different tools and you're seeing results and you want to share it. And not everybody wants to hear it. So we, share. And if it's clear that they want to hear, share more. And if not, there's others and we've got to conserve our energy for the ones who want to listen and learn. Steve, one of the things that piqued my curiosity about what you're up to is you shared a story in one of the Facebook groups that we're in, the Pumpkin Planters Rock Facebook group, when there was a contest around sharing pumpkin plan stories. And yours was very compelling because you shared a story about having to let a customer go, somebody who was not going to turn into a big pumpkin. And you did it in a way that you maintained a friendship. Can you share that here?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was a very interesting job. And I still we have a local NAIA World Series that's held here locally. And I sit next to them every year this will be going on the 3rd year, I believe. I had worked for them about 3 years. And this last job, I was working my tail off and I had made sure that the job was completed before they got home. I literally busted my tail and I thought, you know what? They're going to be so thrilled to come home and see everything is done because they didn't believe I could get it done. I had help. I made sure I got the necessary help to make this happen. They arrived home and it was dark. So the next morning I called them just to see how it was, brand new hardwood floors, a new front door. We had scraped their ceiling. I had to have the proper abatement company come in because it had asbestos in the ceiling. in the ceiling popcorn, and I had to retexture it. And the next morning I called them and I said, so what do you think of everything? And it was silent. And they just started nitpicking. I mean, literally nitpicking. And there was a couple things that had happened that if I would have taken a step back at some of the things I was doing, I may have been able to address the problems, but they were on a trip and I was just trying to get things done. I had my blinders on to a sense, and they just kept nitpicking at me. Nothing I could do was going to make them happy. It was a husband and a wife. The wife was causing tons of friction. The husband seemed to be on my side. I know he was, but like he told me, you don't have to sleep with her. And so, yeah, she would I could hear her in the background of phone calls. He would call her and he would say, hey, Steve's thinking that we can approach to fix this way. And I could hear her just rambling on. And I was just like, what else can I do? I had just kind of had it. And I finally, after he got the phone with his wife, and I just said, I'm sorry. I said, I'm going to get this done and I'm sorry, but I won't be able to work for you guys on future jobs. There was a good chance that they probably wouldn't want to hire me because of that friction. But I just said, I can't put myself in that situation anymore and future situations. So time had passed a little bit and I really do enjoy them. I know they're good people and they're just not somebody I can work for. So I figured I've been trying to find ways to thank customers on jobs. And so last year, wife and I are part of a wine club. And so I thought, you know what, I'll just buy a couple cases of wine, and on certain customers that meet the criteria, I will thank them with a nice bottle of wine. So this was a different situation because this is not somebody who I wanted to thank, but I want to have a bottle of wine with my friend, and he was very receptive to it. And so I went over there and we just had a friendly conversation. We didn't talk about work. We didn't talk about the job. After things had settled, they did mention that they appreciated me and the work that I had done. So they still appreciated what I was doing. It's just in the heat of the moment, there was a lot of conflict that was coming up. And so last year I had tickets to the World Series that we here locally, and we sat next to each other, and it seems like we may not be as close as we once were. Not that we really ever were too close, but I never like to have those friction points with somebody. And so that's kind of how I overcame getting rid of somebody, but still maintaining that friendship.
I think that's such an important story to share, because as we take people through the pumpkin plan and they start looking at which clients do not fit the ideal client profile, the hardest ones to address are the long-standing client relationships, and especially the ones that are mixed friendship. It's very, very hard to have those conversations and figure out how to approach that and to say, I care about you as a friend, and I'm going to finish this book up for you, and I won't be able to do work in the future for you. And in all of that, maintain the relationship. You handled that with such grace.
Oh, thanks. I just was trying to put somebody how I would want to be treated as well. And sometimes, I don't know, it's very difficult with getting referrals from a friend of a friend and a friend. And that's how these working relationships start. And then we find ourselves in positions that these are not clients that are going to move the needle for us. And recognizing that is part of what the pumpkin plan has done for me. I've been able to recognize that through the pumpkin plan. And it's put a new spin on how I accept customers and how I vet them. And I would rather stay home and work on something at my own house than work for somebody who was not appreciative and that was not going to value the time that I'm giving them. Because in the end run, we only have so much time. And so we should be around people who are going to honor that and respect us. And the biggest thing for me too, through all this whole process, is the respect that I've been getting from my clients. and the confidence that I have gotten within myself. And that's been the biggest takeaway from me, is the confidence that I have now that, yes, I can charge more. And there's nothing against somebody if they can't afford me. It's just that I'm not best suited for them.
So as you have been making this pivot yourself in your business and helping more contractors with their businesses and talking to them, one of the things that I've noticed you get very excited about is the How to Hire the Best book. You're a big ambassador. You've been out there, one of the early people out there promoting it. As soon as we had content in your hands, you're out there running with it. What gets you so excited about that? What's your passion behind that?
I've always had a difficult time finding proper people to work for me. And this is something I'm still working on. I have found that it seems a lot simpler for me to just do the work myself. And that's not sustainable by any means. You get to burnout. I mean, through my 13 years, I've probably had 3 burnouts periods where, as I've had my contracting business, and to the point to where you're so burnt out, physically, emotionally, I mean, even spiritually, and you take a step back and you get back into it, and you just if you don't make the right changes, things will revert back to the way they were. And so seeing that there is a proven method that you have, Dr. Sabrina, it resonates with me, and I can see the need that business owners have, and that everyone is complaining. Everyone is talking about there's no good help. It's just not out there. That's probably part of the reason why I'm also wearing a Keep Craft Alive shirt right now. You can't see it, but the hashtag Keep Craft Alive, because I think it is important to keep the trades alive. And if we want to run a business that's going to be successful, that we have to have people that are supporting us. And if we don't have the right team in place, they're just going to drag us down. And so my plan is to work right through the book as long as everybody else. And so I would love to be able to gear my coaching and get that started, and then dive back in and be able to work my remodeling business, and then be able to get it to where somebody can run it for me.
Yeah. What you said about it's not sustainable for me to do it by myself, that really resonates with me. That's what I see is so many people get burned by employees and go back to, well, I should just do it by myself. It was simpler. It's more work, but I'll just do it. And it's not sustainable. It takes a huge toll on our health and our family relationship time. But the other part of this is you keep craft alive. Like, how do we keep craft alive if we don't have good people building these businesses? There's a demand. People want to purchase these services. And if you don't have team members to support you in delivering, how do you keep it alive? And the notion that's out there that is, what everyone says is you can't get good help. It's just the way it is. I used to buy into that. That's why I wrote this book, is because one day I woke up with that question in my head about, what if that's not right? What if that's not the way it is? What if there are business owners out there who are hiring A players, and what the heck are they doing if they are hiring those folks? Let's figure this out. And that's what I think we have to be so careful of in our business, is that moment when we say, it's just the way it is. I really feel like that's the moment we decide we're going to contract instead of grow.
Yes. I mean, I totally, everything right here is kind of hitting home with me. And like I say, the hiring of the right employees is still a work in progress for me. And that's part of the holdback for so long. And I would always try to hire somebody with the mindset of, being so passionate about, like, what, if you just stick with this, the trades this can be a lucrative business for you and your family. And there's a lot of people that are getting out of the trades due to, aging out, and there's not enough coming in. And I was not attracting the right people to give that message to.
Yeah. And, I want to just share a personal story that gave me hope last night around this. I went with my oldest daughter. She's in middle school, and they had a parent meeting. She's in 7th grade, a parent meeting about high school. It was painful as a parent to sit through this, but okay. Yeah. She's going to go to high school. I'll get my head around that. But they were talking about the different options at high school, and the majority of the high schools in this area offer carpentry as a track to go into. And that's new and different. And in a 2.5-hour meeting, the number of times carpentry was mentioned. And I just thought, look at that. This is coming back. There really is an appreciation for the need that for kids who want to have a career here, it will be there.
Oh, yes. Our local high school and college have teamed up together, and we have a new high school being built, and they're bringing more trade programs into the high school, which I think is going to be great. And, you don't have to go get a 4-year degree at a university or state college. I mean, it's about getting the message out there. And I think that, everything together, it's on the right track. It's just about getting the right people out there to, like I say, to get the message out there and to know that, yes, there is a better way to do things. There's a better way to hire the right people. There's a better way to find the right customers. And there is a better way to live your life. There's a better way for your own personal health, for your family. I mean, it's the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And the lifestyle doesn't have to be to work your life away. But when people on the outside look in and see that owner working 80 hours a week, why would they be interested in doing that same thing?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I wish I would have known then what I know now, and my business would be in a totally different spot. But then I'm also torn, because would I be sitting here talking to you and Mike right now? And I don't know the answer. And I think that I went through these challenges to come out on the other side with a story to tell, and with a story that hopefully will resonate with other contractors that are in or have been in that same position or that same spot as I was.
Yeah.
I have a lot of stuff to talk about. I know we're short on time. So one of the things I wanted to bring up was just that there obviously, there has been a lot of discussion around it's very hard to find people to work in the construction industry. But, the service has difficulty finding people. Really, any business has difficulty finding people. We're in a unique position, I believe now, the construction industry, where number one, right, like Sabrina says, you have to create a great place to work. If you create a great place to work, and, not to seem rude about this, but there's a lot of contracting companies out there that created a crappy place to work, which then in turn creates crappy employee, behavior, and, it doesn't breed for, success all around, right? So, it kind of it's almost like the industry ate itself from the inside out, but then we want to complain about it. But if we have really good places to work, and we have a very good hiring system in place, right, and we understand that hiring is an ongoing thing, it's never going to go away. Every business struggles with finding people. I mean, it's just every business does. So, once we realize that and we say, okay, yeah, we do have some challenges that are different than other industries, but how could we make it better? Well, if we have a great place to work where, we respect our employees, we respect each other, we do the right thing for our client, the environment is just a productive, very positive environment, then we can bring people in that maybe don't have as much experience. And they say, you know what, this is a great place to work. Let me learn again to be the best I can for this company. Meanwhile, the company is providing the systems for them and engaging in the right, programs and practices and, how to hire the best system and working with, coaches and all these different things to basically allow that person to grow within the industry, right? And that in itself can provide some corrective measure, just overall, So I think right now we're poised for a change. I think just like Sabrina said and what you were talking about high schools bringing back certain trade programs, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of that. And really, it's up to us as the business owners in this industry to just create a great place to work. We have to create that atmosphere that wants kids to, or young people or even people looking for a transition, that it's okay for me to work with my hands. I could make good money. Yes, it's dirty work sometimes, and I'm going to be on my knees and dusty and whatever. But you know what? It's a great company. The owner's great. The other employees are great. I'm surrounded by really good people. Why would I not want to do this?
Absolutely. And then there's those opportunities for advancement when those young people come in and they see you've created a great place to work and they want to be a part of that, and you're a growing company because you've pumpkin planned, right, Steve? Then there really are opportunities for advancement. And kind of the thing that was really standing out to me about what you shared, Steve, is when we pumpkin plan our business and we are deliberate and intentional about the clientele we work with, that is a big part of creating a great place to work. Because when you, the owner, are not stressed out over dealing with a client that's not a good fit for your company, you now have freed up energy to be able to focus on developing your team. Well, and when we have employees who are A players and we have clients who are our A players because we've picked the right clients to work with, that is a great place to work.
Oh, yeah. I guess I'm just excited about this new adventure. I'm not an adventure, but just this new, I guess it is an adventure. I don't know what I'm saying, but it's going to be a good adventure when I just kind of look at myself in the past where I was at and just in the direction that the new direction, I guess I'm just kind of at a loss of words right now. So.
Yeah. Now, I get excited when I think about how many businesses are going to be helped by understanding the value of profit first, pumpkin plan, how to hire the best, creating these highly profitable, great places to work, designing sustainably profitable businesses that give us a life. That's really what it's all about here. As we go out, I know that you have created something out of your own experience that you wanted to share with our listeners. 7.5 ways to recognize red flag customers.
Yes. So part of my way to recognize customers in the pumpkin plan and to figure out what my sweet spot is to figure out about the clients who I want to work for and the ones that I don't. And as I looked through my contracting journey, I was able to pick out different types of customers that drug me down, and their traits seem to repeat themselves. And so I have a document of, a PDF of 7.5 ways to detect red flag customers. And just to kind of sweeten the pot, if somebody, that will, of course, allow submit their email address. But if they come through on the Profit by Design podcast, and if they are a contracting business and kind of really want to dive deeper, I will offer a half an hour free consulting session for them.
Wow. That's very generous of you to do that. And we will link to that document in our show notes. And so somebody can get their hands on it and then have the opportunity to, what you're sharing is your school of hard knocks. You created this out of your own experience and you're wanting to share it with others to keep them from having the same challenges. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, it's definitely a school of hard knocks. Like I said, if I would have known then what I know now. And that's what I really want to help people with, so they don't have to go through those trials and errors and those struggles that are going to possibly reap bad. They're going to have negative effects on themselves, their family and their kids. And we could talk about mystifications and all that stuff. I know we don't have enough time for that, but it even kind of goes into that part of it.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you for being with us.
Yeah,
Steve.
Thanks for sharing. It's been great.
You're very welcome. Thank you for listening.
Profit designers, attracting A players to your business means you have to have a great place to work. How are you doing with creating your own great place to work? Are you on track for building a great place to work that's highly profitable? Are you on track for building a great place to work that lets you take a 4-week vacation? Find out now at tapthepotential.com/assessment. Thank you for spending time with us today. Join our conversation in the Profit by Design podcast Facebook group. Share your thoughts on today's episode, ask us questions, and let us know what you want to hear about next. Visit our website at profitbydesignpodcast.com to access resources from our sponsors and tools we've created for you. Subscribe to the show on whatever platform you're listening to right now. There's a subscribe button right there. Go ahead and hit it so that you always get a notification when we release a new episode. And finally, share our podcast with a friend if you know a friend who would enjoy it. Thanks again for listening. This is real life business. Keep your chin up. Keep moving forward. You got this.